Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're exploring a deeply profound text called The Significance of Living, Making Mortality Matter. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. An explainer about mortality, isn't that kind of grim? But stick with me here, because what this text does is actually the complete opposite. It uses the lens of our own mortality, not to bring us down, but to radically wake us up. It's basically a masterclass in finding deep, resonant purpose in our everyday routines. By the end of our time today, you're going to see how confronting the one inescapable fact of human existence might just be the ultimate key to unlocking a truly meaningful life.
Well, to get to that uplifting realization, we have to start with a very grounded, very serious truth. Death is inevitable. It's the ultimate equalizer. No matter who we are, where we come from, or what we've achieved, this is the one absolute certainty we all share. For centuries, ancient philosophers practiced memento mori, literally keeping a skull right on their desks as a visual reminder of this exact fact. It wasn't to cause panic. It was to strip away all the noise and those trivial distractions that eat up so much of our energy. We so often just go through our days on autopilot, assuming we have this endless supply of tomorrows. But the source material hits us with a stark reality. Mortality doesn't check our calendars. It can happen to us or to the people we hold most dear at literally any moment. One unpredictable second has the power to permanently alter our lives, or the lives of everyone connected to us.
And that sudden fragility brings us to a deeply personal question. I want you to really think about this directly. If the end were to happen at any random moment, are you living a life of value? If the clock unexpectedly stopped today, what would the sum total of your actions say about you? The text uses this unpredictability to create an immediate, intense sense of urgency. It challenges you to look at your life not as some boundless expanse of time where you can always, get to things later, but as a limited, incredibly precious window. If everything could be instantly altered, are you proud of how you're choosing to show up in the world right now? It really forces us to ask ourselves if we're just existing or if we're actually making our time count.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the source text handles the vast spectrum of human belief regarding what happens next. Humanity generally splits into two distinct camps, and the text objectively validates both perspectives to make a much broader point. Over in the first camp, there's the belief in rebirth, or reincarnation, the idea that your journey continues. But the text points out the inherent logic here. The quality of that next amazing life is entirely dependent on the actions, the karma, and the choices you're making in your current life. Then you have the other perspective, absolute finality, the belief that there is no rebirth and this is the one and only life we get. And if you hold this view, the source argues it becomes even more imperative to take this singular, fleeting existence incredibly seriously. You have to do your absolute best right now because there are absolutely no second chances.
And here is the brilliant turn in the source's logic. Actually, it's more like a giant funnel. Because it doesn't matter which of those two beliefs you align with, whether you anticipate a rebirth or you believe in absolute finality, both of these wildly different paths converge on the exact same mandate. You must do justice to your current life, here and now. The philosophical differences completely dissolve when it comes to practical application. You can't use a belief in the afterlife to procrastinate on being a good person, and you certainly can't use the finality of death as an excuse for nihilism. Either way, the inescapable conclusion is that you are required to lead a life of purpose and meaning today. The destination might be up for debate, sure, but the vehicle, how you drive your life right now, requires the exact same level of care, attention, and intention.
So the crucial point is understanding what that intention actually looks like. The text distills all of this down to one single word: significance. We all want to attain significance by the end of our lives, right? But how is that actually measured? Well, the definition provided here is remarkably clear, and it's entirely outwards-facing. Significance is the value we add to others' lives. It's the service and the contribution we make to our community. Notice what isn't here. It doesn't define significance by the wealth you've accumulated, the fancy titles you've earned, or your personal accolades. It dictates that our personal value is completely, inextricably dependent on the value we provide to others. We don't become significant in a vacuum. We become significant through our connections, our helpfulness, and the positive friction we create in the lives of the people around us.
Let's move to and see how this builds. Because if we want that significance, what does the actual blueprint look like? Here, the text shifts from existential philosophy straight into rapid-fire, highly practical action. Be grateful for who you are right now. Seriously, don't wait. Do your absolute best with exactly what you have, exactly where you are. Use whatever resources are at your disposal to make a tangible difference. You need to leave a positive mark before you go. You need to be the spark that inspires others to be better versions of themselves. You must love, and you must allow yourself to be loved. You have to live a life where you genuinely feel alive. This is a massive call to action. It's a demand to stop sleepwalking and start actively engaging with your community, turning those high-level philosophical ideas into real, boots-on-the-ground momentum.
And this brilliantly illustrates the core message. The text anchors its entire argument with this incredibly powerful quote from Les Brown. If our life is God's gift to us, then how we lead our lives is our gift to God. Just let the emotional weight of that sink in for a second. Regardless of your personal theology, the metaphor here is just stunning. Life is freely given to you. It's like a raw, unshaped block of time and potential. The way you sculpt it, the way you serve others, the love you freely give away, and the significance you build, that is what you're giving back to the universe. It shifts our whole perspective on life from something we just passively consume into an active, beautiful offering that we are personally responsible for crafting.
Which leaves us, at the end of our explainer today, with the most profound reflection of all. Knowing that your time is finite, and knowing that your significance is measured entirely by what you give to others, as you go about your daily routine tomorrow, ask yourself, will you matter? Will you be missed? It's a tough, challenging thought, but it's also the ultimate compass for a life well lived. Use these questions to guide your everyday actions and make your mortality matter. Thank you so much for joining me today, and as always, never stop learning.